Hello, how is everybody doing? Day 24 of our husband's boot camp, and loving the feedback from so many people. If you have feedback, testimonials, things that worked, please let me know. A lot of I'm even getting feedback from some wives also, as I mentioned, probably previously I mentioned that, which is great to hear. And It means that we're doing the work. If you also, like a lot of people tell me, Rabbi, it's too hard, I can't do it. But that's good also. At least we're building an awareness of what it takes to be a master of marriage, what it takes to be a person who's living with shalom. Now again, as a Chazal tell us, and it's very important, I never mentioned this, ish v'ishto, shalom benehem, shechina shiruya benehem. A man and a wife who are living together in shalom and peace, the shekhinah is with them. It's not easy to bring God in your life. Think about building the Beit HaMikdash, what they had to go through to build the Beit HaMikdash. It's been 3,000 years of 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 terrible exile, and we still don't have the third Beit Hamikdash. Not an easy thing to make a home that God could rest in, because that's exactly the goal of the Beit Hamikdash, is to build a home for God to rest in. So that's not going to be an easy thing. But if you stick with this, you can build a home of Bayit Ne'emah where God is there literally. This is an amazing thing, and it certainly is not going to come easy. Anyway, let us talk about day 24. We're in the middle of Dr. Gary Chapman's Five Languages of Love. And again, the premise of his book is that people talk different languages when it comes to love. We want to give love, but sometimes our mate doesn't really receive it that way. For instance, every animal has their display, their mating call, or their display that they show their mates. The monkey can't do it to a lion, and the lion can't do it to the monkey. It just doesn't work. They're speaking a different language. Is the same way when we reach out to our spouse. It has to be in a way that they are translating it as love. For instance, as my example yesterday was, some of us, grew up in a home where the things weren't very openly affectionate, and we looked at mommy cooking dinner as showing daddy love. We looked at daddy going to work as daddy showing mommy love. And in other homes, there was a lot of affection, a lot of words of affection, and that's the way they translate love. So when a husband from the cold, unaffectionate house gets, and not cold in a bad sense, but just like in a house that doesn't that sees different manifestations of love, marries a girl who has seen open affection, the girl's like, well, I don't understand. Why aren't you telling me how much you love me? Why aren't you holding my hand? Why aren't you complimenting me? Why aren't you buying me gifts? Why aren't you spending time with me? Where he's looking at it like, why don't you make me dinner? Why don't you? Because that's his way of translating love. So what's the second language of love? And the second language of love is gifts, bringing gifts. I want to tell you an unbelievable Gemara. Day 24, we mentioned two things that should have been earlier, and I've been waiting for these. Number one, the idea about ish v'ishto, shechina shiruya benehim, that when a man and wife are together, the Shekhinah is with them. And the second one is this Gemara. This is a go-to Gemara when it comes to Shalom Bayit. There is a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Hiya bar Rav. Tremendous, right? Rabbi Hiya bar Rav is mentioned. And Rav, of course, in the Gemara is constantly mentioned. Rabbi Hiya bar Rav means Rabbi Hiya, the son of Rav. Rav is the great rabbi, Rav Shemuel, the teacher of Rabbah. Tremendous, tremendous person. And the Gemara tells us that Rav had a difficult wife. Whenever he asked for lentils, she made him beans. Whenever he asked for beans, she made him lentils. Rabbi Hiya, in seeing this, decided to take upon himself to fix the situation. So he went to his father. He said, Dad, what do you want for dinner? The father said lentils. Then he would go to his mother and say, Daddy wants beans. So what would the mother make? Lentils. And then the next day, when Rav wanted lentils, he would tell his mother, Daddy wants beans. So he would get lentils. So one day, Rav, after a while, sees Rabbi Hiya, his son, and he tells him, Mommy is really improving. She's doing great. So Rabbi Hiya tells his father, Dad, I hate to break it to you, but I've been switching it. I've been telling her the different things. So Rav told him, don't do that. Never ever do that. Don't teach yourself to tell a lie. And I want to tell you something else. You know how I cope with this? Because as your mother does two things. As long as your mother keeps me away from Avera, that means, I don't have to look outside because your mother is with me physically. That's one. And the second thing is she brings my children up for Torah. And those are the two main things of a lady. So what do I need? The other things are good. The difference between lentils and beans makes a difference. Now the Gemara tells us about the Hiya. The Gemara says the Hiya had a difficult wife, the son. However, what he used to do was an amazing thing. What Rabbi Hiya did is, when Rabbi Hiya saw something he thought his wife would like, anytime he went anywhere, he would bring home a little small gift for his wife. So if he went to the marketplace and he saw something, a headband that he thought his wife would like, he'd buy that headband. If he went to a wedding and there was cookies there, he would take the cookies, wrap them up in a thing, put it in his pocket, and bring it to his wife. Now, what's the idea of the Gemara? The Gemara is showing us almost an evolution of Rav to Rabbi Hiya. Rav didn't mind. This was things beyond Rav. I need the dinner. What do I need at dinner? But Rabbi Hiya was obviously sensitive towards his mother not making the right dinner and towards his wife not making the right dinner. Rav was not sensitive towards it. He didn't care. It was obvious he didn't care. Rabbi Hiya was sensitive to it. Now, what does it say how Rabbi Hiya took care of the problem? Rabbi Hiya didn't go to his wife and tell her, I demand you make the dinner. I said, he didn't do that because that's defensive. That's not what we want. Good offense is the best defense you could ever have. So what did he do? He thought, why is my wife making me the wrong dinner? You know why? She must be getting spiteful. Why would a person get spiteful? When I asked for lentils, she's making beans. Why? Because when I ask for lentils, she's probably thinking to herself, well, I'm going to do what he wants, but he does nothing for me. He said, you know what? I have to show my wife that I care. And how was he showing his wife his love? By every place he went, he brought his wife a gift. Amazing. And obviously, the Gemara doesn't record it, but we could assume that the Gemara is telling us he did this. We could assume that this piece of advice worked. Giving a gift from every. So there's a great story of a guy who went to his Rabbi, and he said, Rabbi, I'm going to France. France at that time was known as being, below the standard of a good Jew in those days. So that it probably is today. The rabbi said, when you go there, make sure you bring me back a little tobacco snuff. The guy said, fine. A couple weeks later, the guy comes back to the rabbi and he says, Rabbi, I went to France, I came back, but I'm sorry, I forgot your snuff. And the rabbi said, what a shame. What a shame. The guy says, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I forgot, but you could get snuff here. So the rabbi said, you think I wanted the snuff? I didn't want the snuff. But when you went there, I wanted you to think of me. So how did I do that? I said, buy me snuff. So you'll think of me the whole time and you'll keep away from sin. I see that you didn't think of me once when you were on your vacation. When you go on in a place, you go on business, you go away, you go to work, you're out of the house, you show your wife that she cares by going ahead and bringing something back. Your wife tells you, go to the supermarket, buy this, 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 and this. Buy a little piece of chocolate that you know she likes, a candy that she likes, a flower, a bouquet of flowers. Buy something. Because what does that show? That shows I care for you. Now again, some people translate that as the only way to show love. But even if not, there is a mesh, there's a connection between all of these. Everybody's got one of these 5 things. When you bring your wife random gifts at random times, you're showing your wife, I love you, and I was thinking about you where I was before. I was in France, I brought you snuff. I was here, I brought you this. And I went to the wedding, or I went out with my friends. We went out to a steakhouse. I'm bringing you back a dessert. It shows your wife you care for her. Nowadays, we have a very easy way of showing that with a simple text message. That's almost a gift. And it's maybe yesterday words of affirmation. But a person should always send his wife random text messages during the day. 1 or 2. Hi, just hi, thinking about you. Good morning, have a great day. Hope your day is going easy. That's a way of showing your wife you care for her when you're not there. Her mind is on you. When you're away from her, you have to show her that your mind is on her. And in this way, you hit a connection that even when you're not with her, she never feels like you're disconnected. Have a great day. How is everybody doing? Day 24 task. Very simple. Shabbat. Today's Eider Shabbat. If you're listening to this on a Friday, buy your wife a bouquet of flowers. Get in the habit to always buy something for Shabbat. Shabbat is a queen. Your wife is a queen on the day of Shabbat. We say Eshet Hayil, not only for the day of Shabbat, not only for the Torah that we're supposed to accept on Shabbat, but also for our wives that made the beautiful meal. Go ahead and show your wife today's task, because today's day 24, showing the language of love by giving and showering gifts. Go ahead and buy your wife a bouquet of flowers for Shabbat.